Okay, then next module is this one, that is energy management and audit. Energy management and audit. Hmm. So these are the few topics that will go for this. There is definition of energy management and audit. Then what is energy audit? Why it is required, that is need. Types of energy audit, an energy management audit approach, and its understanding of energy costs, benchmarking process, energy performance, matching energy use to requirement, maximizing system efficiencies, optimizing the input energy requirements, fuel and energy substitution, energy audit instruments. So at first, definition and objectives of energy management. The fundamental goal of energy management is to produce goods and provide services with the least cost and least environmental effect. So again, the main purpose of studying energy management is to basically manufacture such devices which will be highly efficient and which will have energy conservation features. And as a result, they will be bound to provide good services in terms of cheap and low economical cost with least amount of effect on the environment. That is the fundamental goal of energy management. Objectives of energy management is to achieve and maintain optimum energy procurement and utilization throughout the organization end. So there are two features for objective of energy management. Number one, minimize energy costs oblique waste without affecting production and quality. And number two, to minimize environmental effects. So there is cost optimization as well as waste management and also least amount of damage to the environment, while at the same time maintaining the same amount of quality, high quality, and required amount of production of energy that is required. So that is to be done by energy management. No compromise in terms of production or quality of power or the services provided by the various energy management based devices. Then energy audit types and methodology. Energy audit. It is the key to a systematic approach for decision making in the area of energy management. It attempts to balance the total energy inputs with its use and serves to identify all the energy streams in a facility. It quantifies energy usage according to its discrete functions. Industrial energy audit is an effective tool in defining and pursuing comprehensive energy management program. So basically, energy audit is a kind of inspection that can be performed, especially in industries and other establishments, by which one can monitor or one can have an insight into that in what way the industry is being operated, and if the industry is being operated in a particular way, then whether it is operating in an optimized way or not, and whether there is any kind of waste that is happening, there is energy wastage or not. If energy wastage is happening, then the energy audit team will give some guidelines, and they will identify out the points where energy wastage is happening, and they will point out how to correct out those energy wastage points. And they might also advise the establishment authorities to go and replace the existing devices by other latest devices in the market, which are available, which will provide a lower running cost and higher efficiency without any compromise in quality and production. As per the Energy Conservation Act 2001, energy audit is defined as the verification, monitoring, and analysis of use of energy, including submission of technical report containing recommendations for improving energy efficiency with cost benefit analysis and an action plan to reduce energy consumption. Now, it is not possible that always the devices will have to be replaced, but at least some corrective feedback devices can be connected with the main devices also, via which basically a check can be always guaranteed on the energy management procedure. And also it is the main aim of the energy management team is always to point out that there are so many devices available in the market with high energy efficiency and which are also available at low cost. So if they can be utilized, it will be beneficial for the long term. Need for energy audit. In any industry, the three top operating expenses are often found to be energy, labor, and materials. In any industry, the three top operating expenses are often found to be energy, there is both electrical and thermal, labor and materials. So these are the three areas where the expenses are mainly beared out in case of industry. There is energy cost, which is pretty high, labor cost, which is pretty high, material cost, which is pretty high. And so the main aim is always to minimize or at least reduce these costs in whatever way possible. If one were to relate to the manageability of the cost or potential cost savings in each of the above components, energy would invariably emerge as a top ranker. So out of these three, labor cost, material cost, these are slightly heavily dependent. These are slightly non-technical costs also. Like if these are available in the market, like labor cost, what is the present scenario of labor cost? In that way, one has to pay the labor. Then whatever the materials are available in the market at a certain cost, at a certain price, those are to be bought. And if there is a trend following it, you have to follow the trend. But with respect to energy, huge amount of cost is often burdened out by the industries. And to reduce this energy, they should go for higher levels of benchmarking by which they can optimize the energy cost. So, and energy cost is the highest also. If you compare these three costs, there is energy cost, labor, and material cost. Then with the comparison, energy cost is the one that appears out to be the highest one. And it is the one that actually drives the overall cost of the entire industry. So this is to be taken care of. So it emerges, energy would invariably emerge as a top ranker, and thus energy management function constitutes a strategic area for cost reduction. So for that only energy audit is required, because energy audit will identify out the areas by which the wastage of energy can be controlled and losses can be controlled, more efficiency can be obtained, and devices, latest technological devices that are available in the market, those can be made available to the people, and as a result, awareness can be brought up among people. So energy audit will help to understand more about the ways energy and fuel are used in any industry and help in identifying the areas where waste can occur and where scope for improvement exists. The energy audit would give a positive orientation to the energy cost reduction, preventive maintenance, and quality control programs, which are vital for production and utility activities. Such an audit program will help to keep focus on variations which occur in the energy costs, availability and reliability of supply of energy, decide on appropriate energy mix, identify energy conservation technologies, retrofit for energy conservation equipment, etc. So overall, this is what has been summed up in case of the requirement of energy audit. That is, it mainly aims at energy cost reduction, and if energy cost can be reduced, and devices which require little maintenance with high efficiency with low cost, if they can be implemented, then maintenance cost can be reduced, and automatically quality control program will improve, it will become better. In general, energy audit is the translation of conservation ideas into realities by lending technically feasible solutions with economic and other organizational considerations within a specified time frame. The primary objective of energy audit is to determine ways to reduce energy consumption per unit of product output or to lower operating costs. Energy audit provides a benchmark, that is reference point, for managing energy in the organization, and also provides the basis for planning a more effective use of energy throughout the organization. So energy audit ultimately, it gives out a benchmark. There is a reference point. Reference point means it's like an inspirational point that can be given to the personnel of the industry, that This is the point up to which you have to reach in terms of better energy utilization with lowest amount of energy wastage. So benchmark is already given to that. That is a standard point, reference point. That is a target point. And after a few months or after a few weeks, the energy audit team, they come back and they basically check whether the implementations or recommendations which were made up by them, whether they have been implemented or not. If in the previous time they had visited, if at that point of time, the energy audit report would have been very bad. Then types of energy audit. The type of energy audit to be performed depends on, number one, function and type of industry. See, various establishments, various industries, they can be of various types. One can be a thermal power plant, another one can be a gas power plant, another one can be a nuclear power plant, another one can be a simple oxygen producing plant, another one could be a nitrogen producing plant, another one could be a steel plant. So like this, various types of industries, dye industries. So each and every industry will be different from each other, especially in terms of operation, devices, energy utilization, energy wastage. So as a result, the energy audit process will also have to vary accordingly with respect to the different types of industries that are available, you know. Second is depth to which final audit is needed and potential and magnitude of cost reduction desired. So ultimately, the main aim is to promote the latest technological devices that have come up in the market and also aim at reducing the energy cost for the various establishments. For that, energy audit is a must. It can be used as a monitoring tool. Thus, energy audit can be classified into two following types. Now, one, preliminary audit. Second is detailed audit. So there are two types of energy audit. One is preliminary audit and second one is detailed audit. Preliminary energy audit methodology. So there are a few points for it. Preliminary energy audit methodology. Number one. So preliminary energy audit is a relatively quick exercise. So as you can see, the name suggests there are two types of energy audit. One is preliminary audit and second one is a detailed audit. So that means preliminary audit will be like a short kind of an audit exercise, and detailed audit is the one that covers more amount of depth when performing the audit process or performing the monitoring analysis process on the running of the establishment. So preliminary audit is a pretty quick kind of an exercise. So as spelled out here, preliminary audit, energy audit is a relatively quick exercise to, number one, establish energy consumption in the organization. What is the overall energy consumption of the organization? Then after that, number two, estimate the scope for saving. After gathering the entire data, they sum up that what is the total energy consumption in the organization. Second, they find out if this energy consumption can be reduced, because sometimes it may happen that whatever is the total amount of energy required for running the plant, the establishment may be consuming more amount of energy than what is required. So they try to find out if there is any scope for saving with respect to that. Third is identify the most likely areas for attention and the easiest areas for attention. So here, as because it is not a detailed audit, an overview kind of an audit is performed, and in this overview kind of an audit, they find out there are certain areas, there may be certain departments or certain units inside the plant which are like common in other industries also. So the energy audit team, when they visit there, they already have an idea that which are the specific departments which are consuming more amount of energy, and the standard protocol for those departments can be laid out by the energy audit team. So it is mainly done to finish up the job as quick as possible. Okay, these are mainly done when not too much amount of discrepancy is there, and also mainly done when the establishment is not too big, industry is not too big, and when its energy consumption is not very high, and even if their scope for energy saving is very less, then that means very minute and little tiny areas are only required for attention. So hence they go out for the most common, likely and easiest areas for attention. Fourth is identify immediate improvements or savings, especially no cost or low cost. There is Fourth one is that they basically immediately they point out that which are the immediate areas where improvements or savings can be required, which mainly are based on low cost or no cost kinds of implementations. And fifth is definitely they set a reference point, that is they set a benchmark, that this is the amount of energy which you should consume and not that much, with the same kind of quality or even higher terms of quality, and the required amount of production is to be maintained. But the benchmark is to be met, that is with lesser amount of energy consumption, and definitely with reduced amount of energy cost. Sixth one is identify areas for more detailed study or measurement. Now, once this overview kind of energy audit is performed, then if they find out that there are more areas and there is more scope for energy saving, then they may find out and go for the detailed areas or more areas, and they can go out for more detailed analysis of areas. If there is a higher scope for saving, or if they see that still greater amount of energy consumption is happening. So preliminary energy audit, it uses existing or easily obtained data. There is a seventh one. Next, you have, this is detailed energy audit methodology. So what does it say? It's a comprehensive audit. It's a comprehensive audit, and that provides a detailed energy project implementation plan for a facility, since it evaluates all major energy using systems. So apart from all the common, tiny, small equipments and devices, which may need to be modified in terms of better feedback control, or which may need to be replaced with almost no cost or low cost effectiveness, if they find out that a much more detailed, if the energy audit team find out that more amount of correction, more amount of modification in the entire establishment is required, then they go for detailed energy audit. And here what they do is that after doing a very thorough kind of investigation and inspection, that is an energy audit over the entire establishment, they definitely mainly find out huge amount of loopholes that with the operation of the establishment, with the devices of the establishment, ratings of the establishment, energy consumption of the entire establishment. So in that case, they can basically provide a detailed energy project implementation plan for the entire facility. And after that, they do come back to check whether it has been implemented or not. Okay. So for that, it requires good amount of time also. So this type of audit offers the most accurate estimate of energy savings and cost. So in case of detailed energy audit methodology, what happens is that as they focus not only on tiny areas, but also on major big areas, and the major big areas, if they are major big holes, big loopholes, and if they chalk out some implementation plan in order to correct out all those loopholes, then that can lay out the pathway for a much more idealistic energy saving potential and cost saving potential. Ideally speaking, there is with almost 0% energy wastage. It considers the interactive effects of all projects, accounts for the energy use concept. It considers the interactive effects of all projects, accounts for the energy use of all major equipments, and includes detailed energy cost saving calculations and project cost. So definitely that means the major areas, bigger areas with bigger loopholes, they need to be replenished, they need to be modified, or they need to be replaced. Even it may so happen that the entire existing infrastructure, especially in the major departments, may need to be substituted by the project plan that the energy audit team may lay out if they find out that huge amount of energy wastage is happening and the efficiency of the overall plant is not pretty good, depending on those major equipments and the major departments. In a comprehensive audit, one of the key elements is the energy balance. This is based on an inventory of energy using systems, assumptions of current operating conditions, and calculations of energy use. This we will see in the numericals. Okay. Once there are one or two numericals, which we will do in this module later on. And from that, we can have an idea on this. So mainly for theoretical, just now, remember that this comprehensive audit or detailed energy audit, it is basically based on the inventory. That is, when this detailed energy audit is performed out, then the first thing that it takes into account is the inventory of all the equipments which are consuming energy, and also the current ratings of various devices, and what are the minimum current operating conditions that may be available. And then based on that, there are certain energy calculations that the energy audit team will perform, and then based on that, they will chalk out the project plan and give it to the establishment. This estimated use is then compared to utility bill charges. Okay. So whatever is the present bill charge that is coming to the establishment, they do take a copy of that entire bill charge, and they perform their own calculations. Perform their own calculations mean whatever is the utility bill charges, those are the based on the actual operating conditions of the plant for the last few months or a few weeks or even the last 1 month or so. Based on the timeline, the energy audit team, it basically assumes on its own that what should be the optimized energy bill of the industry, and then it basically compares those two bills. That is, one is the original utility bill charge that has come to the establishment, and the other one is the report of bill that the energy management audit team builds up or calculates, and then they compare the two. Detailed energy auditing is carried out in 3 phases. So with respect to detailed energy audit methodology, it is carried out in 3 phases. Those 3 phases are phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Phase 1, pre-audit phase. Phase 2 is audit phase, and phase 3 is post-audit phase. So before audit phase, during audit phase, after audit phase. So this is how this energy audit is normally carried out or laid out in 3 phases. One second. So a guide for conducting energy audit at a glance. So here, just a brief way out for energy audit is given. Industry to industry, the methodology of energy audits needs to be flexible. So there is a comprehensive 10-step methodology for conduct of energy audit at field level is presented below. Energy manager and energy auditor may follow these steps to start with and add or change as per their needs and industry types. So this is like there are 3 columns. One is, the first one is for plan of action. Second column is for purpose or results. So at first, step 1. Step 1 is your phase 1, that is pre-audit phase, just before the audit phase. So what is the plan of action required for pre-audit phase? That is phase 1. Now they basically have to plan and organize. That is, this is with respect to the energy audit team. They plan and organize at first. Second, they walk through audit, and then they perform informal interview with energy manager, production or plant manager. That is, here no documents or no such reports are taken into consideration. They just have a normal oral kind of interaction with the personnel of the establishment. And what is the purpose of this? Now, resource planning. Resource planning means in the pre-audit phase, what they do is that they try to get an overall idea that what kind of resources they might need when they come back to perform the actual audit phase. Okay. So what kind of resources they might require? For that, you have resource planning. Establish or organize an energy audit team. So not only the resources that they require, but also they need to form the team. So they have to, phase 1, they perform pre-audit phase, these 3 aspects in order to have an idea that whom to include in their energy audit team. how many members should be there in the energy audit team? Because if the establishment is way too big, then they may require more number of people. If the establishment is not that big, then definitely reduced amount of people will be required in the energy audit team. The second purpose is to organize instruments and time frame. So second one is they have to manage, they have to find out what kind of instruments they need to carry out here in order to perform their energy audit, and also the time frame within which they must complete their audit phase. Third is macro data collection, suitable to type of industry. Macro data collection means smallest amount of data gathering if can be possible with respect to the industry. Then familiarization of process of plant activities. So once initially when they visit the establishment, then they basically have informal interview with the energy manager, production plant manager. Then they will accompany them. The energy manager or production manager will take the energy audit team, and he or she will accompany them, and he or she will familiarize the energy audit team with the entire operation of the plant. Yeah, so it will be kind of a visual kind of a inspection, visual kind of a overview that they might want to have, and an overall checkup may happen, but it won't be that much detailed, and it won't have any kind of immense amount of technical aspect into it initially. Then first-hand observation, as I stated, so initially there will be just a casual observation, which may appear from the outside, but inside those people, they start painting up the images inside their heads. That's what is wrong with the process and what can be done to carry out the process. However, at first they will only observe. So first-hand observation and assessment of current level operation and practices. And then step 2, that is this phase 1 pre-audit phase, has got 2 steps. Step 1 is done. Step 2, conduct of brief meeting. After this, they basically may perform a conduction of brief meeting or awareness program with all divisional heads and persons concerned. So almost it may take about 2 to 3 hours. That is, with most of the people responsible for running of the plant, especially with the divisional heads and some people under them. So the energy audit team may have a brief interview, or may have a brief interaction with all of them, and make them aware of why they have come, what is the purpose, and when they will come back into the next phase, that is for the audit phase, then what they will expect, and to what degree the people of the establishment should be ready, with what kind of reports they should be ready, like that. But also they do it so that they can ultimately lay out a good communication platform with respect to the employees of that particular organization, so that the next time they come out, then the communication will be much more easier, transparent, and access of documents and various other accessories will be easy, and in that way their job will be easy otherwise. So what is the purpose of results? Now, number 1, building up cooperation. So through this, their task will become easy. There's an energy audit team's task will become easy as they become more and more familiar with most of the people here. Issue questionnaire for each department. So it will be like kind of a feedback form that they may provide to each department, and they may ask each department people to, fill out the feedback form and submit it back to them. And as a result, and again, orientation, that is the introduction of what is energy audit, why energy audit team has come to their particular establishment. So it's kind of like an awareness creation among them. So today up to this, guys, then next day I shall continue from here. Just take your attendance. Okay, thank you, people.